And what really gets me excited is how we can serve more people. And so that's what I want to help with today. I'm going to be sharing 3 ideas that every one of you can be going and implementing. And chances are, from those 3 ideas and some of the things that we share and what we talk about here today, there's going to be one standout idea or concept that's probably going to make the biggest impact on your business here today and over the long term. But here's what I really want to challenge you to think about as we're going through this is, what would it look like if we started to put these concepts and ideas in place over the next 90 days? And what would that look like for you, for your business, and for all those clients out there who are truthfully praying for your help, losing sleep over your help, talking to their spouses at night before they go to bed because they're looking for someone like you. I'm also, on top of all the things that Linda shared, I'm also pretty interactive. I don't know if I wasn't given enough attention as a child. I don't think that's the issue, but I'm going to be asking some questions. And so what I would just implore you is hands on the keyboard and to be sharing your insights as we go through this for what's standing out most. Put those in the chat, number 1, for yourself, because when we start to reiterate those things, when we share what it is we're hearing and what our insights are, that's going to lock it in for us. And on top of that, chances are someone else here in the chat might be on their phone. They might be in the middle of something. We're all in the middle of our workday for the most part. So sharing those insights can also be a catalyst for someone else here in the chat, and you can help to be responsible for that. So I love we have some transformational specialists here. We have some folks in Vancouver. Awesome. Love my Canadian folks. Thank you guys so much for being here. I also threw a workbook link in the chat. You don't need that. You only need a pen and a piece of paper because we're going to do some drawing here today and some implementation. As you have questions, throw them in the chat. As you have insights, throw them in the chat. If you are ready to go, will you just let me know, hands on the keyboard, and just put ready over in the chat for me, and that will be my cue that we're locked in. We're good to go. We have Shani here, financial advisor. Amazing. Okay, cool. John's ready. Dr. Sanja's ready. Shanna's ready. Awesome. It sounds like we're ready to get started. So grab that workbook or grab a piece of paper and a pen, and let's get to talking about how we can serve more people, how we can grow our business and really stay out of that feast or famine cycle, and how we get on the kind of the lifeline, so to say, where clients are consistently coming to us. We don't have to do anything salesy or pushy. We have to do 0 convincing, but we're enrolling clients every single week. So this is the workbook that's over in the chat just for reference. And this is what we're going to be using to guide us here today. If I'm talking too fast, you just let me know over in the chat. I'm a cup of cold brew in, and the day's off to a rockin' start already. I saw Valerie just joined. We just got off a call here together from our visionary program. So you're in the right place if you're looking to land clients consistently. And I want to underscore the simple and the scalableness of what we're going to chat about here today. This little triangle is going to be our guide for the concepts we're going to talk about. And I think the first thing that we need to do is we need to understand where we're at and kind of where we're aiming together. So my hunch is that you might be in one of 2 places, or one of these 2 goals are going to be the thing that you're kind of aiming at. And so in the middle of the triangle, I just want you to write 100K. And what I need to know from you for yourself in your workbook and then over in the chat, are we looking to get to 100K a year, or are we looking to get to 100K a month? And you can let me know by throwing year in the chat or month in the chat. What's your goal? We're trying to get to 100K a month or to 100K a year? Dr. Sanjay says a month. Amazing. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is great. Okay, cool. What we're going to share today, I'm going to look through the lens of how we get there in a month, and all of these. If we're trying to get to, if we haven't had a 10K month yet, then our goal is probably trying to get to 100K a year. We don't want to skip steps and start aiming at stuff that's maybe going to aim us too high, but I'm going to keep that in mind as we're going. Samara's here. What's going on? It's great to see you, friend. Kathy's here. Okay, awesome. So we're either aiming at 100K in a year if we haven't hit that just yet, or maybe we haven't hit that consistently the last couple years in a row. Yeah, totally year. Yeah, perfect. And for those of you that are aiming for this in a month, this is also going to work perfect for you. So let's look at through the lens of going to 100K a year or to 100K a month. There are really 3 areas we need to focus on to get to that 100K a year or a month goal. And fixing these 3 things, it's what's either stopping or preventing you right now from having the highest chances of getting there. Of course, in all of our businesses, we need leads. So we're going to talk largely, and I'm going to give you a couple different mental shifts for how we're going to be getting leads. We, of course, need a very simple system to be signing up those folks every single week. For some of us, we're working on getting clients consistently every month. Totally cool. But we need systems to make that happen with ease, that are repeatable, and that we can count on, that don't allow for us or don't cause for us to need to be salesy or pushy or use any of those weird sort of tactics that I don't think any of us here are a fan of. And so second, we're going to talk about getting new clients. Yeah. And then lastly, we need an offer that we believe in our heart of hearts. And I take it that if you're here, you're already there. I'm going to provide for you a little mental shift, because in each one of these things, we have to look at them a little differently. I would like for you to get there this year, but if we can start implementing these simple concepts for getting leads, clients, and having a scalable and simple offer, we're going to be well on our way in the next 90 days to starting to experience the fruits of those labor. So this isn't airy-fairy someday in the future. I want you thinking about, and you might have ways right now for getting leads and getting in new clients and an offer that you believe in. But I want for you to be thinking of, what if I take just one or two of these concepts into each of these areas in my business, what it would look like over the next 90 days. And so the way I look at it is, I want you to be getting new leads every single day. I want for you to, imagine waking up and on whatever social platform you're leveraging, you have fresh people in that inbox, in the DMs, on your page when you open up, of people who are hungry to learn more about how they can work with you. And they're already thinking, because of what they've seen and what they're feeling when they come across you, that this person has the goods to help me. Imagine waking up every single day. Like, what would that change in your life and in your business if you had those fresh leads every single day rolling to you? We want new clients, and we want them every week. The way I look at it, for those of you that are just getting started or working towards 100K a year, getting 3 to 5 clients a month consistently puts us well on our way to that. That's 15 to 20K a month. And so if we have a system that we know is going to pull in new clients every single week, we have the components for a growing business and everything that we need to be really serving those people in our market who are ready for some help. And then for your offer, we're going to look at this through the lens of, what do we need to do over the next 90 days to change, tweak, or add just a little bit of love to your offer. So I want to know, over in the chat right now, just looking at this at a high level, which one in your heart of hearts do you feel, just looking at this and where we've talked about here so far, over in the chat, I want to know, which one of these areas are you feeling right now needs the most love and attention? Is it getting in fresh leads every single day? Is it being on a pathway to getting new clients every single week? Or is it something in our offer that maybe it isn't making sense to our prospects? Maybe we don't have enough people taking us up on it. I see a lot of leads over in the chat, totally. I'll give you guys just another second. Do we need more leads? Do we need new clients in? Or do we need a better offer that we believe in? Better offers, yeah, totally. Yeah, John, and you're aiming at 100K a month, right? And so like having that right offer, you know the power of what happens when we tweak just one thing to make it make super sense and make it super safe for people to start, what that can change, leads and clients. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna start over in leads territory here today. So I'm glad that that's what we have kind of a majority desire in over here in the chat. Leads that turn into clients, totally. And you're gonna see how these all work together as a system that makes this goal right here in the middle totally come to life. The shift that I'm going to help you to make in a different way that I want for you to be looking at leads is a little bit of a more simple way. And I want for you to be thinking of leads as conversations. This is the shift we need to simplify this down, because there are a ton of ways that we can get leads. Over in the chat, I want to know, what's your number one way for getting leads right now? Is it ads? If it's social media, what specific platform is bringing you the most amount of leads? And if you're not getting leads just yet, how would you prefer? Maybe you're focused on growing in your Instagram, or you're growing your TikTok, you're growing your LinkedIn. Which is the way, or your email list, one of my favorites, which is the way that you're wanting leads to be getting you in? Owl, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, referrals, yeah. And so let's just for today, for this 90 minutes that we're together, I want you thinking of the one place. Because things can get too complicated when we have so many places that we could be getting leads and none of them are working super well. So like over the next 90 days, if it's LinkedIn and you want your LinkedIn to be your lead flow source where leads are coming in every single day, that's how I want us to be thinking. Speaking, referrals. LinkedIn is my favorite. Referrals, says Tina. Hey, Tina, great to see you. Referrals are powerful. I love that so much. That's a big indicator that you're a rock star at what you do. LinkedIn and workshops. LinkedIn would be easiest, says Samara. So like imagine the next 90 days, we just focused on LinkedIn. And if leads come our way from other places, or we take content we're doing on LinkedIn and we send it to other places for maybe 15 minutes of our day, that's awesome. Need to use LinkedIn better, totally. So if we can focus in on one platform, this is gonna put us and give us the highest odds of starting to get those leads every single day where they start to trickle in at first, and then we start to see how this works, and we start to see how these little concepts we're gonna be sharing here today work. Yes, LinkedIn, totally. When it comes to clients, I'm gonna help you make a big shift here today. And what we're gonna be talking about, if we're talking about creating conversations for leads, we need to be doing a better job as business owners and as salespeople. As much as people sometimes shy away from that word or hate that word, in every area of our business, and I would dare say our lives, we are salespeople. The faster we are to embrace that and to find our own authentic way of not convincing and being salesy and pushy, the easier of a time we're gonna have signing up new clients. In order to do that, we need to do one thing and become a rock star at it starting in the next 90 days and over the next 1 to 3 years. We have to become absolute stars at creating context. Does anyone else feel like the world has gone a little mad? Right? In 2020, the world went mad with everything that happened in 2020. And we're starting to see a lot of those kind of similar things. And although the circumstances are slightly different, over in the chat, what are we seeing on the news right now? What is everybody scared of right now? What is everyone pausing everything in their life for no good reason because of
tariffs.
the fear that's being thrown? Exactly, tariffs. That's one of the things. And before tariffs, it was people waiting for the election to happen, as if that's gonna change anything about our day-to-day and how we run our businesses and our lives. The stock market crashing, tariffs, exactly. So what we need to understand is that we're in a very important and critical time, and a different time than we've been in the last 12 months and in the last 3 to 4 years. And it is slightly different than what we went through in 2020. But no matter what, we have to understand the context of the market. And more importantly, I'm gonna challenge you and help you to start looking at the context for what's going on in the lives of your individual prospects and of your market. And the better you're at communicating and creating the context for why they need to sign up right now, why they need to make a decision, why that's in their best interest, that allows for our prospects to start selling you and closing you and asking the kind of questions that lead to a client being signed up of their own accord with us doing nothing weird, where they're saying, do you have room for me? What is the investment? How would this work for me? Can you help me? Those are all the sort of questions where your only job at that point is to really not mess it up and pose any non-necessary red flags. And basically you have a client at the end of that call or at the end of that conversation. First, we're gonna shift into thinking about leads as creating conversations. We're gonna talk about creating new clients through creating context. And then lastly, one of my favorites, I don't know if I could choose, this is like choosing kids. We're gonna talk about your offer, and yes, your offer is what you sell, your offer is also what you deliver, it's your program, it's your product, it's your course, it's your coaching service. We're gonna talk about what that means in terms of cash flow. So starting today, I want for us to have these shifts. Let's start looking at leads as creating conversations. Let's make it simple. We need to be talking with real, breathing, living human beings every single day. The most important job, and for many of us, the only job that matters right now in our business is creating sales. It's now money. It's how are you gonna get a client today? How are you gonna get another 3 to 5 clients or 1 to 3 clients by the end of the week? And making sure that you don't go absolutely crazy when it comes to delivering that program or your service. And more importantly, it actually transforms the lives of your clients. We need to create conversations, we need to create context, and we need to create cash flow. Is that cool with everyone here so far? Are we in the right room? Let me know over in the chat. Just say yes, I'm in the right room. This is what I need to be talking about. Kathy has her hands up. Awesome. Yes. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure we're talking about things that are going to help you, because we can change this on the fly if we absolutely need. I can roll that way. Okay, cool. Let's talk about, and there's some pages in here for some notes if you want to take some and just be sharing your insight along the way. Let's start by talking about creating conversations, and let's make this whole leads thing just far more simple. And I pulled these, I hope it's cool with you. I pulled this directly from the programs that we offer, because I figured what's working for our clients is probably what's going to also work for you. And so I've just taken these concepts from exactly what we teach every single day over here in Visionary Entrepreneur World with me and Carrie. And I figured that'd be most helpful for us to really bring this to life. The first thing that we have to do if we want more leads, which simply means, as we now know, creating conversations, we need eyeballs. We need people looking at our goods, seeing that we are the expert and the authority, and seeing that we can help them. And so what that means is getting eyeballs on your lead magnets, on your social media profiles, to your email newsletter. And there's a couple ways that we do that. You guys have shared a couple of the ways you're focusing on doing that right now. We have all of the social media platforms. And when I write that, I don't mean let's go on every single one of them. You will make more progress cutting out all of them except for one over the next 90 days, instead of spreading yourself too thin and thinking Instagram and what I got to do on TikTok and then LinkedIn and then all of these other things. If we focus on one, we're going to have the most progress. I heard over in the chat, in person. I heard referrals, which is hands down the fastest way, in-person referrals, to be getting new clients, like by the end of today or the end of this week. Ads, speaking, and if I missed one, just write it down for yourself, or if I missed the one that you're super focused on, we need more eyeballs. By show of hands, who here has a lead magnet, a free resource that gets people to see that we can help them? Yeah, over in the chat. Is it a PDF? Is it a quiz? Is it a video? What's working best for you right now? The reason why I want to pull this to life is because I've worked with tens of thousands of coaches over the last 12 to 15 years. I've worked with thousands over the last 72 months. And when I dig deeper, we have a lead magnet, but it's one of two things. We're either not super proud about it, and we constantly feel like we have to add more quote unquote value to it. And value is an endless thing that we can always be adding to. We constantly think we have to make it better and add better graphics and do all of these things. So that's problem number one. The second problem that I notice is that you have a lead magnet and maybe you're super proud about it. You put a lot of time and energy and maybe even money and resources behind it, but it's usually buried on your website. And we aren't leading with it forward. So yeah, we have it, but it's not really getting us any new leads unless someone wanders over to our website. And I don't know if you're anything like me or the majority of the folks that I talk and connect with, but like, who goes to a website these days? We're lucky if they land on our Instagram profile or our LinkedIn profile. Who goes on a website? If your lead magnet is kind of either buried on your website or maybe it's kind of collecting dust and we haven't just used it lately, throw me into the chat, because this is for you. Because chances are, if we take the dust off that thing or just have it on our website, but also have it available at our fingertips, this is going to be a great way that we can start generating conversations today, like before the end of this workshop, before the end of today's business day. The LinkedIn profile has replaced the website for you and your business. Yeah, totally. Instagram is your billboard, TikTok, whatever social platform, that's your billboard. And even when you go and click on the links inside of those social profiles, what do most people have there? They have a link tree or some sort of link page resource with all the different ways that we can help. So I just want you to think about how we can take that lead magnet out. If we need to download it from our website or pull it out of the folder that it's in our computer or our phone, wherever that is, our Google Drive, let's get quick access to that, because we need to get more eyeballs on it. We need to have that happen every single day, and we need to have that happen starting today. So we need eyeballs. That's step one. The second thing that we need in this process, in this super simple process for generating more leads in our business, is we need hands. We specifically need to raise hands. So instead of hoping and praying that people are going to wander their way over to our website, we need to take that lead magnet and kind of metaphorically wave it in front of the webcam, wave it in front of our story, on our Instagram, on our LinkedIn, wherever, and say, would you like this? I just created this 10-minute video, this PDF to help you overcome this problem. Who would like a copy? Maybe you feel a little weird sharing that because you didn't just make the thing. Well, if you made a quick update to it recently, say, I just made an update to this resource. I just made an update to this PDF that helps this kind of person with this kind of problem. And you're going to hear a lot of what I chat about and a lot of what I help our coaches to do, our speakers, our authors, our experts to do, is to speak in terms of problems. I have this weird thing that I don't think, like, so many people are inside of their own head thinking about themselves that, like, they almost don't have the time to pay attention to how good your LinkedIn or your social media profile looks, or how good that resource looks, or how good that resource is, because they're thinking about problems. And so a lot of people will say, get into the mind of your market and get into the heads of your customer. And that just has always felt super nebulous to me and super just not in the present moment for me, for like how I get in their heads. I feel like that's a journey, and I got to write a marketing campaign, and I got to do all this data analysis, and that's all wrong. What we need to be thinking about is, what are their problems? What are they praying to God about? What are they talking to their spouse about before bed? What is keeping them up at night? And if we can use that language in everything that we do, we have now successfully entered the minds of our prospects. And a very smart person taught this to me by the name of Dean Jackson, and he calls it something cheeky. He calls it pillow talk. These are the sort of words, and the only words, if I had it my way, that you would be using in any of the marketing that you're doing. We're talking about problems. We're not talking about us. We're not talking about our offer. We're not talking about how cool our stuff is. Even though we're awesome and our stuff is awesome, our prospects are dealing with problems. They're dealing with a lot of fear in the news. They're dealing with a lot of waiting and postponing decisions. And so we need to help them by entering their mind, by talking about their problems. And we need to raise hands. What does this look like and sound like? It's like going on your Instagram or your story, or wherever you're doing marketing, in email and in ads, and saying, I have this thing. Who would like a copy? And then instead of giving them a link to go and download it, you're going to have them reply. So Linda talked about earlier, we're going to talk about a two-step process. This is our two-step process right here. It's getting them to raise a hand and helping them to do the super important thing, which I should have wrote right here in the middle, to create convos. We want conversations. I want real, living, breathing people replying to your ad, your social media, your email, wherever you're posting and wherever you're wanting to get leads. Instead of saying, go to my link and get it, instead of saying, go to my profile, instead of saying, here's the link, go and download it, we're just going to have that thing available and we're going to give it to them. Because here's what I also know, is that for every lead magnet out there is a download folder full of other people's lead magnets that no one ever opens. Is anyone guilty of that? They just have a download folder full of lead magnets, and we want to go through them, and we always see them there in the morning, but we just don't kind of ever get the time. We're going to use that to our advantage. Our goal is not to get them to actually watch a video or do the PDF or do the worksheet or do the quiz. It's awesome and extra credit if they do. It makes them more of a 5-star prospect and a potential client for you. But our only goal is to use that video, magnet, PDF to start a conversation. So we're going to go on our email or our social, and we're going to say, I have this thing. Who would like a copy? You could even go so far, I'm sure you've seen people doing it, as saying, reply with this word. Reply with guide. Reply with masterclass. Reply with PDF. And I'll send you a copy. And now we're just going to open up a private conversation in LinkedIn or on Instagram, or we're going to reply to their email and say, hey, got your reply for my guide. Here it is. And just give them the direct link to go and get it. So I'll upload mine into a Google Drive and make it publicly available, same way I did with today's workbook. And I'll say, here you go. But our work isn't done. And this is why a lot of the systems for lead generation in email and waiting and counting on people to visit our website and actually do the workbook and do all those things are not going to set you up for as much success as this flow here, and simply having that conversation right there and then and inviting them to the next step. First, we need eyeballs. Second, we need to have them raise their hands and ask for the thing and say, hey, I want that. I want that thing you just talked about. I want that thing you just showed in the camera if you printed off your PDF or something like that, or you just spoke it into the camera. And they're going to raise their hand and say, yeah, me. And it's just like in the classroom. Think back to grade school, which I know for everyone here, that wasn't all that long ago. If we had to go to the bathroom, if we needed something for the teacher, what do? We'd simply raise our hand. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to get people to raise their hand and say, I want that thing, so that we can have a conversation with them. Then, and this is, if we're not already having fun with this is where things start to get fun and you start to see a shift already. We need hearts. Once we have sent them that lead magnet, that free resource, that guide, that workbook, and if you don't have any of the, I'm throwing the workbook into the chat for you, Diane. If we don't have a lead magnet, a guide, a video, or anything, but we do have clients, take what you're doing the easiest way for content and for things like these free resources that stand to get you more leads. Let's take the best things we're doing with our clients and let's take some metaphorical scissors or some shears to it and just cut a little piece out. So maybe you have a workbook you do with clients for onboarding, or you have something that you give to your clients that they always love. I'm not saying go and give away that whole thing, but take a little piece of it, take a concept, take a page out of it, clip out a piece of the client delivery you're already doing, and do what I call weaponize it. Let's use it. Like, why make new stuff if our clients are already getting results with really good stuff? Like, why would we lead with anything else if we have clients and we're working with them? Then the stuff that's getting them results, it's also the best way to show your expertise, and it's also a low-key flex, as the kids would say. It's a way of showing off that you're actually helping other people with this. So take what you're doing with client delivery and go and look at what would be most juicy and take a little piece of that thing out and use that as your lead magnet and use that as your resource, as a little shortcut, and also, in my opinion, just an absolute best practice. So what does hearts mean? We need to tug on their heartstrings. And we're going to do that by asking questions. So we got their attention and we said, would you like this thing? They raised their hand for it. Now we've sent them the guide. We've sent them, sometimes in a lot of these chats, you can just upload the PDF right then and there, right? And so if Samara said, hey, I want that thing, I'm gonna say, hey, Samara, here's the thing. Here's the PDF, here's the guide. You can go and download it now. And then let me know here what stood out to you most. By the way, I'm curious, how long have you been a insert type of person? So if you help speakers, how long have you been a speaker? If you help stay-at-home dads, how many kids do you have? We're going to start understanding a little bit more about their situation. And then they're going to respond. And now you're actually in a chat with the prospect, which is exactly what we need in order to be getting clients. I love systems and I love automations and I love all of that. The issue is, in today's day and age, is actually a hindrance, because there's a never-ending amount of systems and automations that we can be implementing and doing. And unfortunately, all of that takes us away from the most important thing in our business, which is talking with real, live, breathing people and understanding their problems and understanding what it's costing them and understanding what they've tried so far, what's missing or broken. And then the last question, my favorite question, is, are you open to some help? And unfortunately, automations and systems just don't do a good enough job of doing this. So if we have a team, they can help us with this. They can help us with this part, the conversations, and getting into the next part. But we need to have a conversation. We need to understand what's going on in their heart. Why does this problem matter to them? What have they tried so far? What's missing or keeping them back from getting these results? So I saw someone earlier who helps people with finance. That's a very broad term, so I don't have extreme insight into exactly what that looks like. But asking them those questions along the way to understand what is the problem that they're trying to solve. What is it? And trying to understand what's costing them. What will happen if they don't do anything about it? These are all great questions that we will also ask, and we should be asking, during a sales call. Is this making sense so far? Let me know over in the chat. So we're going to pull on their heartstrings. We're going to understand why this matters to them, what's holding them back, and then we're going to pop one of my favorite questions in the world, which is, are you open to some help? And that takes us around, and it takes us to the final piece of this creating conversations piece. I got a bunch of yeses, awesome. The last thing that we need here is faces. We have their hand when they raised it. We have their eyeballs when they saw it. We have their hearts because we're now chatting with them. The last thing that we need, thing number 4, is faces. I want faces from your market viewing your offer, or across from you on a Zoom call like this for a sales call, or on the other end of a phone call that they've booked in to chat with you about solving these things. Now, with the folks we help, the overwhelming majority of them sell in one of two ways. They either sell by booking a call onto the calendar. They book a call, they have like an appointment system, or they sell using a simple document that has their offer in it. I want to know over in the chat, how do you sell right now? Are you booking through a phone call? Are you booking through a document, or is it something else? Let me know over in the chat. Zoom meeting, so appointments, awesome, love that. Zoom meeting from calendar, yep. So this will work perfect for that. 15-minute strategy call first, so we're triaging and then doing a Zoom, doing a fit call, and then an actual strategy session, Zoom. So this will work perfectly for all of you guys. And maybe you have this way of selling. You do Zoom and you do an appointment engine, or maybe you do sell in a document and you have your offer kind of written out. If we're wanting more people to book with us, and we're not getting it just yet, but we're continuing to implement the systems, and we have all the automations, we have a really good lead magnet, we have stuff that helps people, chances are we're missing this component of having the conversation that's really keeping us from getting one booked call every single day or a minimum of one client every single week. And if you already have calls being booked in either every day or every week, this is how we start to fill our calendar or our team's calendar with more opportunities. Is that in alignment with everyone's goal here? Is to have more living, breathing people on the other side of Zoom that are paying them for more help. That means we need to simplify the lead gen process. And here's what's great is if you're below 50K a month right now, you don't need ads in order to do this. What you need is more conversations. And here's what I can promise you is that when you do start running ads, when you get to that 50K a month, the conversations are only going to make your ads work better than all of your competition, because the majority of your competition isn't doing this either. They just have a bigger budget for ads and they can lose more money and they can spend more money to get them. Whereas if you have this piece here and every single day you're getting eyeballs from social media, hands raised asking for the resources and free goods that you have for them, you're having the right conversation around what matters to them most in their life or in their business or whatever it is they're looking for results on. With just 3 to 5 questions in that DM, we are saying, hey, why don't we hop on a call and brainstorm a plan together to help you overcome these 3 problems? Are you open to that? They respond yes in the chat, because why wouldn't they be? They've already downloaded your thing. They've gone back and forth with you in the DM, so now they trust you. And because you're speaking in the language of problems, they already have a feeling that you know more about them, about their problem. And they're going to hop on that strategy call, on that sales call with that same sort of energy. And they're going to show up on time or early, ready to play full out, which is exactly what we want when it comes to actually having sales calls that turn into clients. So I just want to know real quick, I'm going to pause before we move on to the next part. This is our first part of getting leads. We need to create more conversations. Over in the chat, what's standing out to you most from this first segment here together? What's landing for you here from this chat? Do we need more eyeballs? Do we need to start raising hands instead of counting on them to go to our websites and book the call themselves, which is, it's awesome when it happens, but that's the exception, not the standard in my world. And when it comes to getting clients consistently, do we need to do a better job of pulling on their heartstrings and asking them more relevant questions about what they're up against and what they stand to gain? Or do we need more faces and to be walking people through booking the call versus counting on them to do it? John says the enrollment rather than selling process. Totally. Reality check that I need to call those who downloaded my lead magnet because my automation is not doing a great job. And that's kind of the hindrance of automation. Is whereas if we were giving it to them personally or creating a personal kind of system around this, we're going to have way more people in our pipeline and way more people booking calls. Need more help, work on my business, not in it. I'm working on this now. Love that. That's a major shift. Change how they access the lead magnet. Yeah, maybe you just leave it how it is right now, but do more in email and more on social media to remind people that you have it and how they can get it, which is by responding and asking for it. Eyeballs and hands, says Shanna. Awesome. My Go High Level works against me in many ways. Hey, we use Go High Level as well. There's so many things that you can do in there, but if we're not at 25 to 50K a month yet, we don't need any of those things. That's the good news. Is that we don't have to let the systems and automations and all the fancy technology get in our way. We can use it to make parts easier. And as our business grows, we can begin to implement brick by brick. But I want you to get money now, like today, or by the end of the week, or worst case, by the end of April. I want new clients signing up from this. I need to improve my lead magnet to get more eyes. What if time is a limiting factor in getting more conversations? I can only do so many myself. So Kathy, I don't know much about you and I don't have much of an insight. I have just a peephole through you here in this. But I would say that if I went through with a fine, not even a fine comb, but let's say with a fine comb through your schedule, I'd probably see a lot of things there outside of client delivery that aren't things that are going to impact, that are not going to impact now money. So we need to wake up every single day saying, where's my next client coming from? Or for those of you working towards 100K a month, where are my next clients coming from? Where's my next client injection, whether it's 1, 3, or 5? And so there's all these things we could do, and there's a lot of pressure. Anyone else feel pressure from watching other business owners on social media or in our masterminds or our coaching programs? And we see what they're doing and it's working for them, but maybe they're not at the stage that we're at. Maybe they have a spouse or other income supporting them, so where they don't have to focus on all of the stuff that generates money right now. So they can dilly-dally, for lack of better words, all day long and not worry about getting those clients in. But for those of you who depend on yourself and the fruits of your own labor, that looks like waking up and asking different questions. And that question starts at the beginning of the day with saying, where's my next client coming from? And the more we ask ourselves questions like that, the more we can look at the task that we're about to sit down and do. And I'm not saying they're not important, but chances are they're less important than getting in some money here today, and also less important than changing someone's life and having those proper conversations. There is an infinite amount. The lead magnets are never perfect, guys. Chances are, Kathy, the one you have right now is more than sufficient to start a conversation. Because remember, most people are not going to go through it and do the thing. Not to say that you should not lead with your best foot forward or not do your best work, but there's never going to be enough value, tweaks, or changes we can make to our lead magnets. The goal of our lead magnet needs to change, which is simply to create a conversation. So Kathy, today, let's hop on social or email, or let's individually message our audience members, our email subscribers, our prospects, whatever it is we have. And let's say, hey, I don't think you've gotten a copy of this thing yet. Would you like it? And then when you send it to them, say, go through it. Let me know what stands out most. By the way, are you looking for this result? So I help coaches, authors, speakers, entrepreneurs get clients. So I would typically say something like, by the way, are you looking for more clients right now? Or do you have more room for clients right now? Because that's what my audience is thinking about. The highest part of it, a lot of them are thinking about automations and adding value to the lead magnet, which at some point in time we have to get to. But I think that if we every day wake up and say, where's my next client coming from? Where's my next dollars coming from? And we ask that throughout our day and everything that we do, a lot of the things we feel we should or could be doing, they just get pushed to the back burner and we get to focus on making money and serving clients, which is the absolute name of the game. Everything else is extracurricular. These are great insights. I appreciate you guys sharing those. Let's take a look at our model and let's see where we're at so far. And Linda, you can let me know how we're doing on time, either by unmuting or letting me know over in the chat.
We're doing great. We have 45 minutes. We do have a question in the chat that, Jeremy, you may want to chat about now before we move to the next step. Yeah. But we had someone who said, I think eyeballs is most critical as it's the first step. Can you say more about what types of content we should be focusing on for this phase, please?
Absolutely. So we'll put lead magnets and lump it in the same with this content. If like I could only share one thing with everyone here, or only one thing landed, it would be this next piece, and I alluded to it a little bit ago. It's talking in problems. No one cares who we are, our accomplishments, the name of our program, how much it costs, how we help people. No one cares about that.
True.
And if they do care about it, they care about it through the lens of what does that mean for me? But another Dean Jackson-ism that I learned very early on in my career was that people are walking around with almost like an umbilical cord in their hand, hoping something's gonna come along that they can plug into. And we want that thing to be you. So think about your prospects. They're all walking around holding their kind of digital umbilical cord, hoping something or someone comes along that they can plug into. Sometimes it's an idea, sometimes it's a trend, sometimes it's someone who can really help them. The only thing we need to do in our content for the next 90 days, and this is more if your content isn't working or isn't working as well as you think it should, we have to talk about problems. If we broke it down in every market here in this Zoom room that we all serve, there are probably 3 big, overwhelming problems or groups of problems that our prospects are experiencing that is keeping them from where they want to be. Your only job is to talk about those 3 problems in every piece of content, or to focus in on one problem. And you could do that many ways. We give our clients a calendar that helps them to cover that in a month. They just use that every month and talk about it in a different way, share different stories, different client examples. But at the end of the day, we have to talk about problems. So you can take just one problem and talk about a recent client example that had that problem and what you guys did. And maybe you just omit their name from it, or replace their name with someone else's. We could talk about what happens when they solve the problem. What will life look like when they overcome this roadblock, which is problem number 1, so to say. But if you only made one shift in your content and you started talking about problems, you will see your content turning into more conversations and turning into more booked calls. And I don't care if you're on TikTok getting 200 views or on Instagram getting 2 likes, the amount of work that content is going to do from you with those same results will far surpass. A lot of us want to get creative with our lead magnets and with our content. And it's less about being creative, and it's way, way more about talking about problems. Has anyone noticed how much our attention spans are shrinking? There's been studies done on this for decades, and it's only getting shorter with short form content. So let's say you put that piece of content out there, you only have a second to grab their attention and hope and pray they make it through all the way to the end of it. Which is why I think it's so much more important to lead with problems. You know, how many times you open up TikTok and someone comes up and they're like, "Hi, I'm this person and I help people get this dream reality." And because anyone can do that, and anyone in their LinkedIn profile or Instagram can say they help this sort of people to get this awesome dream reality, there is now a BS radar. We'll keep it G-rated here. There's a BS radar that goes off in the minds of our prospects that thinks, really, do they? And worse, that happens from our family and friends who actually know the insights of our lives and of our business. So the more we talk about problems, the less we talk about ourselves, the more we're talking about what's going on in the minds and the hearts of our market. And the more we have conversations with our prospects and we gear them back to those problems and solving those problems and how much those problems are costing them and what will life look like when they overcome those problems, this will change how you sell, because what ends up happening is your prospects begin to sell you. They begin to ask those right questions and they begin to enroll themselves. And it's my belief that transformation happens at the sale, where they don't even know yet all the things you're going to cover for them once they work with you, but they're already going to be walking with their shoulders a little more back, their head held a little more high, and already relieved that they've made the right decision, which is what we need to overcome in all of this, is to help people make a decision. Because they're not only just thinking about you as a coach or you as the solution, they're thinking about all the other things they could do. And the real big competition we have is not against anyone else. It's against them not doing anything. That's your biggest competition when you're talking with the prospect and trying to convert them into a client. Your competition is just them doing it the way they've always done it, which really means not doing anything else, not doing anything different. Patricia, appreciate you. Okay, so we talked about leads and how we get them every single day. The next thing that we need to do in terms of getting new clients is we need to become rock stars at creating context. So first we created conversations. Now we need to create context with our prospects so they can have a better understanding for why they should take action right now and stop waiting. Stop going it alone. Stop piecing together podcasts and YouTube videos and lead magnets from everyone else and start saying, you know what? Now is the time. I need to take action. I need to make an investment in myself and cut out all the free stuff that's really just holding me back and leaving me more confused. So let's talk a little bit about how we create context. And we have another simple model that's going to carry us and do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. I want for you to think about this for this model specifically. This is just one way that we help our students to create context. I want for you to think of this as lifelines. There are essentially a couple different lifelines your prospects are on when they come to you and will be on when they look forward 90 days, 1 year, and 3 years from now. So let's talk about how we build context and exactly what this looks like. And I want for you to think about what this would sound like in a conversation with your prospects, because your prospects and your ideal clients are here right now. And that would be April 2025. That's us in terms of timeline. And the reality is that they are going to be in the same or a different place when we think about, we'll use just 1 year for now, of April 2026. And the actions and the decisions that they make today, with your help, will determine where they end up in April 2026. And what's really cool about this is that it's up to them where they wind up. It's not up to you, right? They can sign up and pay up and do all of those things, but not show up and not actually do the work. That's a total reality. So how do we bring this to life, and how do we kind of visually see how it is that we need to be creating context? There is a percentage of your audience who are going to be on the growth line. Fast forward to April 2026. These are the people who get life-changing results, who make the changes that they need to make, who get the help that they need in order to get the ideas and the strategies, the support and the community around them of other people who are doing these same things. So we're going to call that the growth line. This is a line that everyone here in this room is on to one degree or another, and that I know want to stay on when you think about April 2026. The second kind of person is going to do a lot of what they've already been doing. Maybe they try some new stuff out. Maybe it works. Maybe they get some results. And I know we've all been there in our business as well, where we're doing stuff and it's working and then it stops, and it's working and it stops. We try other things. We try what we heard in a podcast. We see another coach that we really look up to doing one thing on stage, and so we go try to do that. But maybe it doesn't work as well for us, or it doesn't become a system in our business, and so it doesn't really go anywhere. We're going to call that the stuck line. Where we're trying a lot of things out, but when we fast forward a year, we're kind of in the same place as we were the year before. Yeah, maybe we have some money, maybe we have some clients, but we're not really growing. We're not really making the kind of impact we know deep down in our souls that we're capable of making. And then the unfortunate reality is there is a third line. And these are the folks who don't do anything, who stop taking action, or who only do what they've been doing, which may not be working, but we're stubborn humans. We don't like change. These things happen in all of our markets. And those folks are going to end up on line number 3, which we're going to call stopped. The people that are on this line most often will end up giving up on trying to get results or progress in what we help with. So they're going to stop their business. They're going to stop working on their finances. They're not going to continue improving themselves so that their relationships can be better. So they can be better at home as parents, or more athletic and have the sort of flexibility and stamina and strength, depending on what it is we all help with. So this is the reality for every one of our markets. There are going to be folks, fast forward 1 year, who are on the growth line, who got exponential results. We're going to have folks who are on the stuck line. They tried some stuff worked, some stuff didn't. We started some stuff, we stopped some stuff. And then we're going to have the stop line, where everything comes to a halt, where everything ceases to stop working and we just kind of give up, or we just keep going at the rate we're going and we just start to see our results decrease. Think about back to 2020. I know many of us started our business during that time, or many of us really figured things out, or we made it and pushed through that time. We are now over 3 years beyond that. And think about all the folks that were around you during that time, maybe in masterminds and coaching programs, friends you had that were at the same page as you. And think through, how many of them do we know that are on that stop line where they gave up, they went back to the 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to provide. But we all know what it's like to give up on our dreams and goals at one point or another, or we can understand what that would feel like. And so my belief is that right now, the world has gone mad when we think about our context. And so there's going to be folks right now who are waiting for this whole tariff situation to play out, or those kind of folks who waited for the election to play out, and they didn't make any progress. They didn't take any action. They didn't make any decisions in their own favor. And it's my belief that how we serve right now will determine how our lives and our businesses will look 3 years from now. And it's the same for your prospects as well. So we need to do a better job of creating that context in the mind of our prospects to help them understand. Maybe it's visually just like this and say, hey, Kathy, hey, John, what line do you want to be on 1 to 3 years from now? You want to be on that growth line? Let's have a conversation about what it's going to take to stay on, to get on, and to continue on that growth line. We could ask them, what do you think these growth line people do differently than all of the others? What would life look like when you're on that growth line? What would that mean for you personally? What would that mean for your family? Who else gets impacted by you being on this growth line? Oh, right now you're kind of on this stuck line. How is that showing up for you in your life right now? How is that showing up in your business? How is that showing up in your finances, in your relationships? And then they're going to talk and they're going to share. We're going to say, okay, tell me more. Or we're going to say anything else. Or maybe they're going to feel like they're on that stopped line. I stopped, I gave up, but I'm back, I'm here, I'm now. Okay, well, let's talk about the things that are going to keep you on that stopped line. And let's talk about some things that are going to keep you on that growth line. There's a gap in every single one of these that it's costing them or will take from them to actually make that happen. And the more in our content and in our sales conversations, we can help them to understand the cost of that in conjunction with time and in conjunction with the decision that they need to make right now, the more they're going to say, how much did you say it was, Veronique? Tina, do you have room for me in your program? Samira, you said you're helping other people with this. Do you think you could help me too? And all we have to do is not put obstacles or roadblocks in the way. Ask the right next couple questions and enroll them in our process. I want to pause here real quick because this is deep. This may be something that you haven't really seen before. I want to know over in the chat, what's standing out to you most? Thank you, John. Appreciate you. What's standing out most from this part of our chat and creating context here today? Here so far. Linda, anything standing out to you while you're kind of being a fly on the wall here, hanging out with us, going over this?
Yeah, I mean, one, I think you're offering incredible insights that I think everyone has to apply to their own business. I think everyone needs to really think through, what are my lead magnets? Are they fluff, or do they really demonstrate my expertise? Are they something really valuable that my audience needs in order to solve their problem? And am I having real conversations with people every single day? And how many of those conversations are being converted over to client relationships? What does that conversion process look like? Am I not asking for the business, or am I not asking the right questions that frames my services in context of their problem? Really understanding what are the issues that maybe they aren't even top of mind for them. They're just things that that are rolling around the back of their mind thinking, yeah, I really need to come to grips with this. But by really raising the visibility of those issues, those obstacles, those roadblocks, and then providing a simple solution to it. Again, that's what we do in LeadHERship Global. People will say to me, what do I have to do to join? What can I do to be a part of this? And I actually say no to more people than I say yes to. Because if I don't think that we are a good fit for that person, I will not involve them in the whole onboarding process into the organization, only to have them realize, oh, wait a minute, this isn't a good fit for me. So we make sure that our services really are a good fit for the people we reach out to. And I think as entrepreneurs, we have to keep that in mind. This is a dating process where I get to say yes or no to people that I'm meeting, just as they get to say yes or no to me, right? So this isn't a situation where every single conversation is going to end up in a new client. There needs to be a little bit of an evaluation both ways. So anyway, those are some of the things that really hit me, Jeremy. And I would also say, businesses evolve and change. If right now you're saying what is most important to me is leads, I guarantee you 6 months from now, you solve that. What's going to be most important to you is not leads. It's going to be the conversion process, the sales process, the kinds of quality conversations you have. And for me, I will tell you, the quality of my life Carrie knows this because we talk about it. The quality of my life is in direct proportion to the quality of the conversations I have. If I can have real, direct, honest, respectful, caring conversations, then that's how I feel about my life. And honestly, I only surround myself with people that I can have real, honest, transparent, vulnerable conversation with. And they are going to do the same for me with my well-being in mind, right? I'm lucky to say Carrie's one of my good friends I'm able to have those kind of conversations with. She's one of the handful of people I deeply trust as in my own personal board of advisors. But I think we all have to make the decision of who do we really want to work with? And if we're working with people that don't hold the same principles, the same values, the same ideals, if we're working with communities where it's pulling teeth to get people to engage, we're working with groups of people where everyone's disengaged, they're not supportive, they're not helping each other, not deeply invested in each other's success, maybe it's time to change your people.
100%. Love how much you're sharing that. And so that concept, right, of how we are interviewing them and seeing if they're a fit for us and having a qualification process where we say no very kindly to the people who aren't a fit for us, either culturally or they aren't ready or for one reason or another that we identify. The way I look at that and the way we teach our clients is we audition our prospects. So when we do a sales call, we look at it as an audition. Are they the right fit for me? Are they the right fit for the other people in my program? Because I'm protecting them, right? One bad apple spoils the bunch. So we say yes to the wrong people. We end up losing a lot of time, potentially some money, have to deal with a bunch of headache and heartache along the way. Here's what I want to know from this piece before we transition into the final piece here to bring this all together, team. I want to know on a scale of 1 to 10 over in the chat, 10 being you've been crushing it, 1 being we need to fix some stuff right away. How good of a job have we been doing at creating context for our prospects in our sales calls and in our content? 1 to 10, 1 being we have some ways to go, 10 being I'm already doing this and I'm doing this very well, maybe better than others, and maybe you could teach me a thing or two. How good of a job, how good of a grade, or what's our grade that we would give for creating context for how we're doing that today? Kathy says 7, Veronique says 6, Dr. Sanja, amazing, a 9, great. And so the more we can take this, the more we can run with it. I see some 4s, got an 8, okay, awesome. So we have some opportunity here. I think everyone has a little bit of opportunity to level this up and to think through this lens so that we can create better context and set ourselves up to have better conversations. Samara, real quick, I see your hand up. What's going on, my friend? Do you have a question or an insight you want to share on this part?
Well, so I was kind of going on the question that you asked Linda beforehand. So I don't have a lead problem. I have a, interaction problem because people were booking calls with me all day long, and it was like constantly on Zooms and phone calls, and some of them are all trying to sell you, so it's like the seller be sold, right? And so sometimes I try to take the people who are booking calls because they're trying to sell me and flipping that narrative on them. But what I'm finding is I created a survey now. So instead of giving them the link to book a call directly and filling out my calendar, I have a survey that kind of prevents those who just want to sell me. And so it's an if-then thing in my Go High Level, because what was happening was I was busy, busy, busy all day long, every day, on phone, all the time, or Zoom. And I'm like, these aren't even potential clients. These are like admins who want something from me, or they're VAs or whatever. So it's kind of like cutting through the crap and the waste of time and getting to me now being more proactive instead of getting the people to book the calls, me just calling the people I want to talk to. And so that's the reality I had actually last week. So I started working on that, and everything that you're doing, Jeremy, today is really wonderful. And I'm taking notes. Sorry, camera was off. I had a later start, but I think it's really important to focus on the problems and not what we can do for them up front. I think we assume that people want what you have to offer, but we don't really know anything about them. So we have to find more info, get more fact finding from them. So thank you.
Great job. Way to
I've learned a lot, though. I took lots of notes.
Great. Love to hear it. Yeah. And if we have people hopping on our strategy calls and they aren't a fit, we have a definite opportunity with that forum. So I'm glad you did that. And this conversation piece will also help you weed those folks out. Diane, I see your hand is up. Did you have a quick question or insight?
Yeah, I just have a quick question regarding context. And looking at that chart, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding. The context obviously is rooted in the problem. But how do you use the chart to help with the context, or did I miss that?
No, it's a great question, because I have one little piece of shit here. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So a part of the context is they are somewhere, right? They are here now in April 2025, and what they do will determine where they wind up in April 26. All right. So that's the first piece of the context. The next piece is asking them, yeah, which line do you want to be on? Do you want to be on that growth line? Do you want to, stay stuck and doing things how you've been doing them and kind of going it alone? Do you want odds that you're maybe going to be stopped or not going to go? Because here's the reality, and here's the next piece that you're asking for, my friend, is that all of these folks, if we think about 1 month out, the green line, the stuck line, and the red line, they're all kind of in the same spot. If we were to look at them or maybe feel their vibe, they all kind of seem like they're still trying some stuff, learning some stuff. But what starts to happen is that gap starts to widen when we think about 60 to 90 days. And that's where it becomes very relevant. So like, hey, you know what? A month from now, you're going to feel like some things are working and not, and you're going to stop some stuff and you're going to stop some stuff. But the reality is, when you have the right help, the right tools, and the right support, you have everything that you need in order to get on and stay on that growth line. And the further they move out in time, the harder it is to go from here on the stop line and to make that difference up into the growth line. It only gets harder for them without the right help, tools, and support. And hint, hint, them signing up for your programs and for your products and for your services is how they get that help, how they get those tools, and how they get that support. So getting familiar with this model, unpacking it for a friend, choreographing it for yourself is going to help you to really understand, wow, this is powerful because I know where I can choose and where I want to be. How do I then just communicate this and unpack this in front of a prospect, or mentally unpack it so I'm covering these things in a sales call or on a workshop, on a webinar, and so forth. Valerie wasn't here earlier. She's one of our visionary students. She started using this in her recent challenge, and it created a whole different kind of conversation and a whole different context to the decision everyone in that room stands to make. So it's juxtaposing the time with the decision that they have to make. And the decision is not, do you want to join my program? Is, do you want to be on the growth, stuck, or stopped line? And then we can talk about what our program means, what our services, what our coaching, what our workshops mean in comparison to getting here. So now they understand the context, they can visualize it, and you can unpack that and have that conversation like that. Does that help, my friend? Cool. Okay. Last part here, and then we'll save room for some more questions as well. I want to talk about creating cash flow. Everything that you're going to do here is going to help you to fill your pipeline with more leads and to have more calls on your calendar and more faces on across from Zoom considering your offer. But we also need to make sure we have the right tool there that's going to allow for us to bring in the big bucks, all right? And we need to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to remove any obstacles so that our offer is clear, it's simple, and it makes sense for our prospects so that their only job is to make a decision and to say yes, full body yes for me, or hell no, this is not for me, this is the wrong person, which is totally an okay answer too, because when you get yeses, you get money and you get clients, which is amazing. When you get no's, you get your time back and you get to go and focus on finding more people who that you can actually serve and help. So what we really want here in the middle is we want a simple offer. And there's really 5 components that we need in order to make sure our offer is checking off the boxes and it's working in our favor. The first thing that our offer needs, and it's where the overwhelming majority of folks kind of get stuck, is the name. I don't care what the name is. And I don't think it's going to convince your prospects to turn them into clients. So I actually look at the name of my thing like a jar. So here's the jar, this is my thing, and I can put a label on it and I could change the name of what it is. So right now, given the state of our world, maybe there's a different label that you need on your offer for the next 90 days. Maybe you need to shorten the time frame to have your prospects see how fast they're going to start getting results. So I don't think the name matters a whole bunch. We'll get back to it in a second, but I like to think in very simple names and not being generic. One of my favorite naming examples is 5-hour energy. You wander into the convenience store on a road trip, you wander in the gas station to fill up the tank, and you got some more to go. Maybe you don't need 24 hours of energy. Maybe you just need a little to get through the trip. So what are you going to grab when you get up to the kiosk to go check out? You're going to grab a 5-hour energy. Think like the 4-hour workbook. There's a really cool product in New Zealand, right, that helps for your lawnmower or your weed whacker to run properly, and it's called Start Your Bastard. Your wife, your spouse asks you to go mow the grass on Saturday morning. You got to get it done before the rest of the day. You go out there and the mower's not starting. You got to go to the shop and get some what we call WD-40. There's other competitors, but when you see Start Your Bastard on the shelf there, you're going to grab it because you just need the bastard to start. Let me grab that and get out of here, and let me get back to mowing the grass or whacking the weeds before the sun is full blown on top of me and super, super hot. So if we can think about metaphorically, if your prospects are shopping in a store for the solution that you offer, what's going to grab their attention and just connect with solving that problem right out the gate? First thing we need is a name. Then we need our benefits. What is it going to help them to overcome? We're going to talk about that more here in a second. I just want to go around these and get these on your radar already. We need proper pricing. We also need something so many people are scared of. We need a deadline. Here's the thing about deadlines, my friends. They're manufactured. They are made up. There is nothing that's actually going to cause for you to lose your life besides very, very few circumstances that we don't really have to deal with in any of our industries here, I take it. But we need a deadline, and that means that we have to create it. And so it's going to feel a little weird that we have a deadline, and they're going to say, well, why is the deadline Wednesday? And you're going to say, because that's the deadline. Because that's when the ship takes off. That's when we leave dock and we head out. We need a deadline. This is what causes all of us to take action. Here in America, tax day is coming up. A lot of us don't do anything until the 12th of April because there's a deadline. We need to put a deadline on our offers and on our services. And then we also need to understand the risk. We'll talk about that here in a second. So again, when it comes to the name of your offer, the name doesn't matter all that much. It matters so little that you could change it every 30, 60, 90 days or every year to keep it fresh so that you have a reason to tell your prospects about what you have going on. So this will be the biggest word I think I'll use in this presentation. This is a unique mechanism, if I had it my way. Mechanism? I think that's spelled right. Probably not. We need a unique mechanism. And more importantly, what we need to focus on is don't be generic. We need to be as specific as possible. And I really, if nothing else stands from here, I want for you to think result. And if it makes it easier, think result in the next 90 days. And maybe you even add on there in 90 days to whatever the result. Leads in 90 days. Taxes done in 1 month or 1 week. Maybe you sell a process for helping people with their tax. So the name, it does not matter nearly as much as we think it does. It's not like naming a kid. That kind of matters. But we can change the name. We can change the label that's on the jar as we go. We also need to think in benefits. I think all of us are probably doing this to one degree or another, but I want you thinking in deep benefits. And really the question that I want for you to be thinking is, what will life look like after they go through your program? So we can even write that down. What will life look like after they go through your program, they get the results? What has now changed in their reality? These are the sort of benefits I want you talking about when it comes to talking about the programs that you offer, the services and the help that you provide for your products and for your services. We need to be thinking about what will their life look like afterwards. Yes, it's awesome that they get one-on-one help. And yes, it's awesome that there's a group and a community. And yes, it's awesome they have access to you. But what's the deeper benefit of that? They're going to move faster. They're going to have their questions answered in no time. They're never going to wonder what the right answer is or what they should do next. And more importantly, if you think about after that, they're going to have the business they're wanting, the life, the relationships, the health, all of those sorts of things. We need to think through what is life going to look like after, and then we need to convey that when we're sharing our offer. You need a lead generation system that pulls in new leads every day so you're never wondering where your next client is coming from. You need to have conversations rolling on autopilot so you always have prospects booking calls and a calendar full. That way cash flow is always coming in. And you also need a simple offer that's easy for you to deliver, that's going to practically guarantee your clients get results, so your clients are super happy and you get testimonials at the end of it. And when you have all of those things, not only will you be enjoying your business more, you'll have more free days. That's the deepest part of it. Less time, more free days, or less energy and more free days in this instance. When we think about pricing, we need to be thinking about value-based pricing. Pricing is so much deeper than I think what most people think. When we think about pricing, we think, what are we charging? Like, what's the investment we're going to ask for at the end of the call? And that's a part of it. But there is also a cost. The cost of not doing. There's a cost of them not taking action and a cost of them not getting the help that they need. I think that's worth talking about in every one of our calls. Like, if you don't do this, what are you going to do? And then you'll hear if your competition is basically not doing nothing. Okay, so what's the cost of nothing? What's that costing you? You said you wanted to be at 100K a minute ago, and right now you're at 10K. That's going to cost you 90K. You also have the total value. We see this most often in like landing pages that sell things, and it talks, this thing, it's worth $997, and you're getting this thing, and it's worth $2,000. You're getting this thing, and that value's $10,000. Total value is a part of that, and calculating what's it all going to add up to versus what you charge. There is also return on investment, thinking them into a smaller window. In 90 days, this program will have paid for itself. If you do the work and show up and play full out and ask questions, you'll have the ROI back in 30 days. If we don't sell business goods like we do here at Visionary Entrepreneur, like Carrie and I, well, there's an ROI if your relationship doesn't get ironed out. There is a return on investment once your home and office is decluttered and you can think properly and feel good about inviting your friends and family to your house. And then there is the investment, which is what you would be charging them. If you can unpack this in a conversation and help them understand there's a cost of not doing it, what the total value actually is, when they can expect to get their return on investment, and then what the investment is, they now have better context, back to creating context for why it is what you charge and what that would be worth in comparison to not doing anything else or continuing to do it the way they were doing it. Deadlines help us create scarcity. And there's a couple ways that you can do this. You can simply limit the amount of slots you have open. So right now, if you're not getting 5 clients a month, you can start saying, I only take on 3 clients a month. If right now you're not getting 20 clients a month, you can say, I only have room for 10. So we can limit the amount of slots. And I would recommend not just saying that, but doing that. So if you only have 3 slots, you get a 4th person, put them on a waiting list, and they'll be first to know when a slot opens the next month. And now you know where your next client is going to come from. Instead of having to broadcast out on social media and go hunting, you just go to those people on the waiting list and say, hey, I had a slot open. You want to hop on a call and talk about what this would look like? Would you like to check out the offer and make sure it's for you? We need to create scarcity and we need to create urgency in doing this. So that could mean putting a deadline on it, or saying if the first 2 people get this bonus, they get a one-on-one call with me. They get to come to this special event that I'm doing in a month's time. We need to put a deadline on it. That means a date. We can limit the slots. We can include limited time bonuses. We can include price incentives if we so please. But we need a deadline. And the big takeaway here for you guys is that deadlines are manufactured. They aren't real. But you can make them more real by limiting slots, having time expired bonuses, special price incentives, and so on. Lastly, for risk. There is always a risk for getting started with anything, whether you're buying a pair of shoes or you're buying a 100K a year mastermind. And so what we really want to do is provide a risk reversal. It's putting it out there on the table that there's always a risk in working with a coach, a service provider, buying a program, buying a service, buying a product. But we need to make it safe to start. So we need to be thinking through how we can eliminate any blockages that would keep people from it. One of the things that we do over in Visionary Entrepreneur, Carrie and I, is we have a love it or leave it guarantee. That if you're not absolutely loving it, you're welcome to leave in the first 30 or 90 days. After that, the payments are still required and you're promising to show up, play full out, ask questions, and get the help that you need. Maybe it is a refund. Maybe there's a trial. Maybe after the first month, they're locked in, but they can tell you in that first month that this isn't going to be a fit for them. And we just want to do this to make it safe to start. That way, there's no reason for them to not start right now, today, before the end of that call. So I want to know, which one of these needs the most love in your business today? Is it the naming of it? Is it getting more clear on the benefits and the deep benefits of what life will look like once they get the result? Is it focusing on the pricing and doing a better job of communicating the cost of not doing it, the value, what their return on investment should be, or something along how you actually charge them, payments, that sort of stuff? Is it the deadline and creating more urgency, more reasons for them to sign up right now? Or is it around the risk and maybe it's too risky to get started and we need to put a reversal in place? So over in the chat, which one of these 5 things do you think could use the most love in your business? Yeah, Suzanne, appreciate you. And then we'll open this up for any questions, sharing any key insights, and so on. What do you think needs the most love when it comes to your simple offer and getting some folks to sign up by the end of the day, end of the week, and more consistently over the next 30, 60, 90 days? And I also want to know what's standing out to you most from this part. What's like the big insight that you're getting here from this part and thinking about your simple offer or simplifying your current offer? Ticking all the boxes except cost of not doing it. Okay, cool. So let's start leveraging that. And that's going to make your offer even more sticky. And I think that will also start to increase the amount of objections and the amount of people who walk away saying, not right now. My benefits need to be stronger. Totally. What will life look like after they have that result? Clarity on benefits. Yeah. And we don't need to update our landing pages or anything like that. We just need to do a better job of asking questions and explaining and unpacking these things in our strategy call. Clarity on benefits. Totally. Totally. Okay, we'll save room for some questions, so start thinking about them now. Feel free to throw them over in the chat. There is one thing in here for everyone that we can take away and start implementing to start making our offers and our sales conversations stronger and start getting more yeses. Now, if you're loving this and you want to know about what it might look like to implement more of this, I have 2 things for you. If you're below 15K a month, the case study program is absolutely perfect for you. This is where we help you start getting on track to get 3 to 5 clients every month, which should be give or take 15K revenue without fancy funnels, without complicated technology or pushy sales tactics. But we look for a very specific kind of person to work with. So if you have a coaching course or service-based offer worth at least $1,000, you can confidently take on 3 to 5 clients starting in the next 21 to 30 days. You have a minimum of 1 to 3 hours a week to implement the plan we have for you and to report back to the group on progress. You are eager to serve your market and care about clients. And most importantly for me, you are cool and coachable. Then you can tap on this link here and it will take you over to information on the case study program and show you where you can learn more and what to do next. Here in April, we have 3 slots open in our April enrollment. We might not do another one until mid-May. We might do one at the end of April, but if that's you and you're eager to start getting some of this help and start implementing some of these simple models and ideas without fancy tech and funnels, check out the case study program. You can see it in Google Docs. And if you are already beyond 15K a month and you're looking to get to 50K plus a month, that 100K a month mark, most business owners are struggling and they're just 2 to 3 ideas away from getting past 50K a month. So I'd like to invite you to come and make a custom plan together for your business. Want to help you remove blockages, keeping leads from flowing in, help you sell without friction so that sales are simple and feel effortless, and to help you scale your offer and business so that you earn more while enjoying more free days. If that's you can hit that button. You can tell us a little bit about your vision for your business and your life, and you can select a time on there to come and chat, and you'll walk away with a custom plan and know exactly what you need to do next in order to bring this to life.